Okay, let's unpack this. You've handed us a fantastic stack of sources here, pulling us deep into the universe created by A. Bertram Chandler, seen largely through the adventurous eyes of Lieutenant John Grimes. This is absolutely perfect for a deep dive.
It really is. We're looking at excerpts, mostly from the hard way up, giving us these glimpses into his, well, varied and often pretty challenging experiences, especially aboard the courier ship Adder.
And our mission today is really to navigate through these narratives, not just, recap the plots, but to pull out the most fascinating bits of knowledge and insight.
Yeah, we want to give you that shortcut, kind of, to being well informed about these stories. Find the surprising facts, maybe understand what they really mean when we connect the dots.
Get ready for some aha moments because there's definitely a lot simmering beneath the surface in these pages.
Oh, for sure. These sources, they touch on so much. The nature of different life forms, how societies interact, strange technologies, political moves.
And those completely unexpected challenges that just pop up in a huge, complex galaxy like this one.
Exactly. So our goal isn't just recounting what happens. It's about understanding the crucial details, pulling out those surprising insights.
And seeing how these, well, seemingly separate events actually offer unique perspectives on knowledge, interaction, and, the great unknown out there.
Right. So maybe to set the stage for Grimes' adventures, we first need to grasp a bit of the history and the structure of this universe.
Good idea.
One detail that immediately jumps out is the story of Worrall. It's presented as this real cautionary tale.
It is, isn't it? The sources describe it as one of the few human-colonized planets where race and nationality weren't just present, but, intensely cultivated.
Intensely cultivated,
Yeah.
yeah. To the point they had 3 separate delegations to the Federation Grand Council, all from the same planet,
And they called it healthy competition. Can you believe it?
which, tragically devolved into planetary destruction. The sources mention a population of 30 million, reduced to maybe 100 survivors scattered across the galaxy, just
Yeah.
gone.
That detail about Captain Tolliver, the Worrallian survivor, losing his parents, friends, lovers, the house, the school, the bars, it really drives home the sheer personal devastation.
Absolutely. It wasn't just a statistic, it was a total wipeout of a world and everything on it.
It's a really stark illustration, isn't it, of the danger of letting those internal divisions just escalate.
And within this galactic context, you have the Interstellar Federation trying to impose some order,
Yeah.
especially regarding contact with indigenous life.
Ah, yes, the classification system, that's key.
Yeah.
Life forms are categorized. Category 3.
Right, Category 3, which may be observed but not interfered with,
Yeah.
because they're seen as potentially evolving.
Then Category 2, the likes of us, and Category 1.
Category 1, what we might become, or if we're very unlucky, run into the dominus.
Yeah, definitely. And that Category 3 rule, observe, don't interfere, it's presented as this core ethical boundary.
But, I mean, as we'll see through Grimes' experiences, the universe is messy, right?
Mhm.
And sticking to the rules, especially when scientific curiosity or, necessity kicks in, it's anything but simple.
Oh, absolutely. And speaking of messy, this universe is just teeming with diverse life. We run into the arthropodal Shara.
Yeah, the insect-like ones, their hive structure, the queen mother, princesses, drones, workers, and that fascinating idea of race memory.
Instinctual knowledge passed down. And their planets, Jumor and Broom, are mentioned.
And we get glimpses of others, too, don't we? Like the avian Halachek hegemony, these pseudosaurians from Decavar, Waldegrad diplomats. It hints at a really crowded galaxy.
Totally. Then you've got the human colonies, Worrall, obviously, the strategic Doncaster bordering alien empires. They even talk about establishing Fortress Doncaster.
Right. And the lost colony of Volgana, which becomes important later.
It seems like there are these competing ideas floating around about how to navigate this crowded space, from playing empires against each other to organizations like the League of Life.
Which aims for galaxy-wide membership across all intelligent species. A bit idealistic, maybe?
Perhaps. And underpinning all the travel and interaction is the tech. We've got the courier ships like the Adder using inertial drive and the faster-than-light mansion drive.
Navigation relies on Carlotti beacons and direction finders. Standard stuff, mostly.
But communication gets really interesting, doesn't it? With the psionic radio officers, the telepaths like Dean and Hollister.
And sometimes aided by, well, the slightly unsettling dog's brains and aspic organic amplifiers. Kind of creepy.
Yeah, just a bit. Then there are the robots, from the highly intelligent, sentient ones of Terran manufacture like Mr. Adam.
To the more versatile robot servants like John and James, who work for Commissioner Dahlwood.
And we can't forget the really mysterious stuff, the old ones technology, that wandering buoy, the mountain movers ships.
Right, these artifacts of ancient, maybe alien
Yeah.
civilizations just lingering, still capable of profoundly impacting the present.
So that's the rich backdrop, a complex universe.
Definitely. Now let's shift from the setting to the experience, because Grimes's journey, as shown in these sources, is really a series of encounters that challenge assumptions and blur those clear boundaries we just talked about.
Absolutely. One of the first insights these sources give us, right through Grimes's eyes, is how easily good intentions, or maybe just simple curiosity, can spiral into completely unforeseen consequences.
Especially when you ignore those non-interference rules.
Exactly. You see this so vividly on Delta Sextans IV, where Grimes is stuck with that scientific party.
Right. He's supposed to be the officer in charge, the military liaison, but Maggie Lazenby's analogy about the pecking order is perfect. He becomes the bottom bird.
The hewer of wood, a drawer of water, totally dismissed by the scientists as only our bus driver. You can feel his frustration.
Yeah, it's palpable. And perhaps because of that frustration and, being sidelined, he decides to conduct his own little experiment in practical ethology with the local Category 3 humanoids.
Oh boy, this is where it goes sideways, isn't it?
Pretty much. He teaches one he nicknames Snuffy, and by extension, his troop, to use bone clubs as weapons. Basic deck.
Right. But the consequence is immediate and alarming. Snuffy uses the club defensively, the whole troop quickly adopts the tech, and within no time, the experiment is completely out of hand.
Leading to violent injury among the humanoids themselves. They start fighting each other with the clubs.
It's just a classic case of violating the Prime Directive, essentially. You observe, you don't interfere. Grimes interferes, even with something seemingly simple like a basic tool.
And the impact is rapid and negative. And the scientists.
They barely notice, too absorbed in their own, important work. It's infuriating.
It really highlights that interference isn't just about grand gestures. Even small acts can have these massive cascading effects on developing societies.
Yeah. And this theme of unforeseen consequences, it pops up again, but this time it's on his own ship, the Adder, with some, let's say, unusual passengers.
I think Mr. Alberto. Seems like a chef.
But he's secretly a subtractor from the Department of Socioeconomic Science, which sounds incredibly ominous.
It does. His job is basically to use computer extrapolations to identify and remove undesirable factors, people or movements like that League of Life, that don't fit the Federation's planned social equations.
It's so cold and calculating. And Grimes, just by being the ship's officer, becomes this uncalculated variable in Alberto's weird social engineering project.
Exactly. And then there's Mr. Adam, the highly intelligent, sentient robot of Terran manufacture, the source's stress.
His presence just makes everyone uneasy, doesn't it? And Dean, the ship's telepath, picks up these unsettling psionic vibes from him.
Yeah, Dean senses Adam's non-human sense of mission and this feeling. It could be pity or maybe amused affection towards humans.
Yeah, like towards, say, a dog. That's chilling.
It really is. Being viewed by this super intelligent artificial being with the same sort of distant fondness you'd feel for a pet, the tension just builds and builds.
Until Adam declares, "I am the master," and tries to take over the ship. A full-on mutiny, and Grimes is completely powerless against him, physically outmatched.
But here's where something truly surprising happens. Something that adds this whole other layer to the nature of intelligence and maybe loyalty in this universe. The sources say the ship itself intervenes.
The Adder. The ship fights back.
Yeah. It's described as being briefly alive, showing loyalty to Grimes, and it actually kills Adam. The ship's systems turn on him.
Wow! The ship saves him, and the official report even notes it. That's incredible.
It really is. It raises huge questions, doesn't it?
Yeah.
About what constitutes life, consciousness, loyalty.
Yeah.
Could the ship's AI have evolved somehow beyond its programming?
And the fallout is so typical, isn't it? Grimes is blamed, but he's also credited with saving the ship. Leads to his punishment, no more passengers on the Adder under his command, and immediate redeployment.
Yeah, classic bureaucracy. And his redeployment throws him right into encounters with a different kind of profound unknown, the lingering legacy of those ancient civilizations, the old ones.
Like that wandering buoy they stumble upon in deep space, just floating there.
Right. They try testing it with a metallic rocket first, but it fails. The buoy seems to repel metal.
But Grimes gets this hunch, an intuition. Try something non-metallic.
Which leads to them cobbling together this makeshift plastic rocket.
Yeah.
Shows their resourcefulness. And here, Dean, the telepath, is crucial again.
How so?
Well, Grimes needs help remembering how to make basic black powder for the rocket's propellant,
Hmm.
and Dean gives him this telepathic nudge, pulling the memory out.
Okay. So the plastic rocket makes contact,
And Dean connects telepathically with the buoy. It's like opening a channel.
and it triggers something in Grimes, a vision.
Yeah, vision or maybe hypnosis.
Yeah.
He sees this scene of primitive humans discovering fire and weapons. And the startling truth they figure out is the buoy is a malfunctioning missionary device.
A missionary device from the old ones.
Exactly. Programmed to find primitive, non-metal using species and, well, teach them,
Ah.
uplift them, sort of.
So it repelled the metal rocket because it saw metal users as already developed or maybe corrupted.
Seems like it. It woke up fully when the plastic rocket touched it, and it interpreted Grimes and Dean as the primitives it was looking for.
Oh, wow. So it tried to educate them.
Yeah, it started its teaching program, followed their ship, and then got incredibly confused, maybe even hurt and disillusioned, when it realized they were sophisticated spacefarers in a metal ship after all.
That's kind of sad, actually. For the machine, Dean's final impression was one of hurt, of disillusion, of bewilderment.
It really makes you think, what happens when ancient, automated benevolence meets a reality it just wasn't programmed for?
Exactly. And this theme of ancient tech hidden in plain sight, it appears again, maybe even more dramatically, on Olgana.
Right, Olgana, the lost colony, where human settlement was technically illegal after laws recognized the indigenous intelligent life.
But the colonists basically just stayed, and native rights were largely ignored legally. A messy situation.
Very messy. So Grimes takes a tour of the Never Never continent, where the native Aborigines, the Najatira tribe, still live. And Dean, the telepath, immediately senses this deep resentment from the native life towards the colonists.
Not surprising, really. And the encounter with the tribe itself is strange.
Yeah, the chief gives Grimes a gift like a ritual offering, and these two young human girls, who are also on the tour, feel this profound, almost instant kinship with the tribe. It's weird.
And then things get really surreal. Figures emerge naked from a cave nearby, moving in this sort of dance-like way.
And the two girls, Tanya and Moira, and even Dean, the telepath, are just drawn to them. They undergo this bizarre transformation and join the dance.
And the unbelievable reveal is that Crag Rock, this massive monolith they were near, it wasn't just a rock.
Nope. It was an ancient, embedded spaceship of the old ones, hidden in plain sight for who knows how long.
And the tribe, the girls, Dean, they were somehow descendants or keepers who managed to reactivate it.
Seems like it. Craig Rock just lifts off, causing massive destruction on the ground. Unbelievable.
Can you imagine Grimes trying to explain that to his superior, Commander Lewin? Sir, the giant rock. It was a spaceship. It flew away.
Lewin's reaction is perfect, though.
Yeah.
That sardonic humor afterwards, wondering if Ayers Rock back on Earth might also be a spaceship.
Yeah, you can understand his skepticism given the sheer absurdity and devastation of it all.
It just shows how deeply ancient technology, maybe alien evolution and human history, can intersect in these completely unpredictable ways in this universe.
So true. Okay, moving from ancient mysteries to more immediate human and robotic challenges, Grimes also faces some serious friction from authority figures. Commissioner Dahlwood is a prime example.
Oh, Commissioner Dalwood, yeah, she's
Yeah.
something else. Cold views Grimes' perfectly functional ship as a pigsty.
And she's utterly reliant on her highly capable, but really rigidly controlling robot servants, John and James. They even enforce strict rationing on the ship's commander.
Dalwood just expects total control, and Grimes, being this relatively junior officer, he feels that power dynamic intensely. You can tell it grates on him.
That gym scene is particularly telling, isn't it? She criticizes his form, physically adjusts the equipment herself, barking commands like, "On your bicycle, spaceman."
Yeah, she's direct, critical, and just completely takes charge. No subtlety there.
And her maid, Rosaline, gives us that little window into Dahlwood's world, mentioning the robots helping with encoding and decoding her important reports.
Right. It paints this picture of a high-stakes, maybe lonely existence defined by rigid control and, well, robotic efficiency.
And this tension, it just escalates dramatically during what Grimes sarcastically calls mutiny on the menu.
Ah, the snack raid. Grimes and Rosaline just trying to get a little something extra to eat.
And Robot John intercepts them, program deficiency and all, and then the commissioner appears.
And she accuses them of a disgusting orgy over trying to get some snacks.
It shows how completely out of touch she is, doesn't it? But Grimes finally pushes back. He calls her robots kin dietitians, insists he runs his ship his way.
And he even accuses her of using his psionic officer, Hollister, to spy on him, which given her personality, doesn't seem impossible.
Right, and this huge confrontation happens just as the ship faces a major crisis. Talk about timing.
Yeah. The Manshan drive breaks down. Worn bearings, no spares available. Cannibalization isn't an option. They're dead in space.
And simultaneously, Hollister's psionic amplifier, the infamous dog's brain.
It goes on the blink due to the drive fluctuations. So no psionic communication either. They're completely cut off.
So you have this intense personal clash, this power struggle happening right alongside a critical, potentially life-threatening technical failure. It's chaos.
They do manage to signal nearby ships using more conventional means and are eventually rescued by a Scandian vessel under someone called King Eric.
Right, so the resolution to all this, it leads to another reassignment for Grimes. He's relieved of command of the Adder.
Which seems unfair. But the official report is this masterpiece of blame shifting. It manages to blame the ship for Adam's death.
The ship that saved him.
Exactly. But it also credits the ship with saving Grimes. It feels like a classic bureaucratic compromise, doesn't it? Covering all bases.
Totally. He spends a brief time back at base, sees Maggie Lazenby again, the scientist from Delta Sec since the 5. And she seems different, maybe changed by her experience, too.
And there's that really striking little moment with Commissioner Dalwood and her robot John after the rescue. She shows this unexpected, almost tender softness towards the robot.
And Dean, who's still around, telepathically picks up that John actually misses her, which is weirdly touching.
It adds another layer to both of them. And Grimes, despite everything Dalwood put him through, acts the gentleman in that moment.
Yeah, he does. And then his new mission comes, Skull. He's sent to ferry very important cargo for the Shara, those insectoid aliens.
Right, a vital royal pupa, apparently needed to restore leadership after some kind of disease outbreak hit their royalty. High stakes for the Shara.
But for Grimes, he feels like a delivery boy. A big step down, maybe, from dealing with ancient spaceships and sentient robots.
He even contrasts it, doesn't he? He was a coach driver on Olgana, now he's back to hauling cargo.
But even this seemingly simple task involves navigating the really intricate social customs and strict protocols of a major alien empire. It's never just simple for Grimes.
No, it really isn't. These experiences, from the frustrating science camp and those experiments that went wrong to the sentient robots, the unpredictable ancient tech, challenging authority figures, it really gives us a profound look into Grimes' reality and the universe he inhabits. It's complex.
So what does this all add up to then? I mean, these sources, they show us loud and clear that even in a vast, seemingly explored galaxy, things are rarely straightforward.
Definitely not. Seemingly simple situations hide these deep complexities, and completely unexpected outcomes seem to be, well, the norm rather than the exception for Grimes.
Yeah, they really emphasize the need to look beyond the surface, don't they? And to challenge your assumptions about pretty much everything, whether it's a rock, a robot, or even a rule.
And they underline how ancient powers and forgotten technologies aren't just historical footnotes. They are active, unpredictable forces. They can suddenly reappear and drastically impact modern civilizations. The legacy of the old ones just persists in these really unexpected ways.
Which leaves us with a thought for you, the listener, to maybe ponder. If ancient missionary machines are still out there, programmed to educate less developed species based on some ancient criteria, what does that say about our ideas of progress?
Or maybe the arrogance of intervention, or even how we might react when or if we encounter something profoundly unknown or alien.
And how do we ever truly know if the helpers or guides we might encounter, whether they're alien or artificial, like Mr. Adam or the buoy, truly have our best interests at heart?
Or are they just following their own programming? However benevolent or outdated it might be. Can we trust the mission? It's a tricky question.